I'm Dave Prouse with the tech question of the day for April 10th, 2017, and this is on the topic of throughput and resilience. Take a look at the figure here. There are two patch cables connecting this router to this switch. What technology am I attempting to make use of? What technology am I attempting to make use of here? And I'll give you a moment to pause the video, and I'll be back in just a little bit with the answer. Okay, what I'm attempting to do here in the figure is link aggregation. Link aggregation, this is also known as port trunking. You might hear link bundling or bonding or teaming. And that depends on what device you're using, or computers or switches. But in general, I refer to it as link aggregation. And what this is the combining of two or more ports to allow for increased throughput and to allow for resilience. So we combine these two ports to increase the throughput. We have 2 gigabit ports acting as one, basically. So increased throughput, which is great for backbone connections, or from going to one switch to another switch, or from one switch to a router, or from a switch to a computer. And on the computer, it would be known as NIC teaming. You would need 2 network adapters, or better yet, a single network adapter with 2 ports that work in conjunction with each other. So this is all known as link aggregation, increased throughput, but the added benefit is resilience. If one of these ports fails, the other one will still be working. So, in case a port fails on the router here, or a port fails on the switch, the other one will still work. Or maybe a patch cable might fail. Then the other one would still work. Both devices must support link aggregation. So this router, this is a TP-Link AC5400. It does support it. You can only do it on 2 of the ports. And this here is a Cisco switch. It's an SG200, and this supports link aggregation on all the ports. And I'm using these devices for a course I'm building right now. It's called Building a Computer Network. And I wanted to run link aggregation between this router and this switch. So that's why I chose these devices. But the router allows it on all the ports, and I'm going to have a server that connects to this on multiple ports. But both devices, both ends have to support it, and they both have to be configured for it. And it's actually recommended that you do the configuration internally on each device first before making the physical connection, because then you might get a switching loop. So you want to avoid any potential looping. Even if you have STP installed or configured by default on your switch, you still might have a problem with that. And there's several reasons for that, and several reasons that it could occur. So link aggregation, and at this point I'll give you the code for today, and it's DPRO42. DPRO42. And you may be asking, why am I giving you a code? Well, I'm doing a giveaway on Facebook, and the first person to type the code, this secret code, gets these items. First, we have a 4-port switch here, and nice little switch. If you have a network at home and you're doing studying, you can add more computers with this switch. It's not a router, it's just an extra switch that I have. That's a 4-port gigabit switch. And you also get a copy of the Network Plus exam cram. And I did not write this, but it's a good exam cram book. So I got a free copy from my publisher, so that comes with it as well. Now you must have a valid United States mailing address within the 48 continental United States in order to qualify. And also you cannot have won anything from me in the past 30 days. So there's your code DPRO42. And so anyway, I'm setting all this stuff up for the Building a Computer Network course. And it's a lot of fun configuring all this stuff. And just wanted to get into the link aggregation a little bit. And during the course, I'll actually show all this stuff, the connections physically in a hands-on manner in real time, and then also the configurations on the router and on the switch. So some pretty cool stuff. But again, you do want to avoid any potential looping. So, but the best thing to do is just to connect your router or your switch or both with one connection, then do your configurations. And for example, I would configure link aggregation on ports 3 and 4 on the router. And here we would do ports 23 and 24 on this switch, and then make the physical connections so that we avoid any issues. I've seen different issues. I've seen issues where you get a complete looping problem where neither device works and nobody can send any data. I've also seen issues where it works fine unless you turn on, say, the Cisco switch first. And then it doesn't work. I've also seen issues where it works, but at a slower rate. If you have both plugged in, it'll be at a slower rate. So there's a loop occurring, but it's really just slowing everything down. So say a ping might go from less than 1 millisecond to 20 or 30 milliseconds, which means that the loop is going through X amount of times. You disconnect one of the cables and the ping goes back to normal and everything becomes fine. So different problems that you might see when you have something like this. So always configure it first and then make the physical connection and check it. Make sure that the data transfer is correct. Make sure that your throughput is correct. But link aggregation can be great, again, for servers, for switches, for routers, if they have multiple connections, so that you can have increased throughput and additional resilience in the form of an extra fault-tolerant port or more than one. So that's the tech question of the day and the answer. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me at my website, davidlprouse.com.